everyone, welcome back to another video. Today was round 5 of Sunway Formentera and I faced a really strong player. I faced Yuxin Song from China. She is an international master rated 2379, so strong, and she also has had a really good tournament so far and her recent results have been phenomenal. So I knew what I was up against and it was pretty terrifying, but I was also super excited because, well, I just made a draw against a GM. I played one of the best games of my life, so, you know, I'm pretty hyped for this game. So, yeah, I started with the white pieces. I played e4, c5. This is what I expected. Knight f3, knight c6 is not what I expected. I expected her to play the knight dwarf because she played the knight dwarf 99% of the times, and I believe the last game in the database that I've seen her play knight c6 was something like 4 years ago, and since she's pretty young, so since she's pretty young, I thought, well, when you're young, repertoire changes, and if you don't play an opening for a few years, that means that you're not going to repeat that, right? Or, you know, it's not so common. So I thought, what are the odds? And here are the odds. I faced another opening that I did not prepare against, or like, I thought, okay, if this happens, I will figure it out. So then I spent some time, a few minutes, 2 minutes, and I played d4. She took on d4, knight takes d4, queen b6. I remembered vaguely from seeing her games that this was, you know, one of her played games, but yeah, I was not really mentally prepared for this. So knight b3, g6, and here I go c4, bishop g7, and knight c3. And yeah, this basically is the start of a series of mistakes, you know? So I kind of underestimated how annoying bishop takes c3 is. I thought this bishop is a monster, needs to stay there no matter what. But turns out that black can just take it and be completely fine. So instead of knight c3, I should have played something like bishop e3. For some reason, didn't want to play this just yet because I'm leaving the pawn on b2 alone, and if queen b4 check, apparently I can just go back and then you repeat, and like knight c3 becomes interesting now. Instead of queen b4, if the queen, let's say, goes back somewhere, then you can play queen d2, and I sort of just, I wasn't feeling it, you know? You start noticing moves such as knight e5. What do you do after knight e5? And then turns out that you can just hang this pawn and be fine, or you can play c5. And I'm basically not really well aware what to do in this structure. It's very new to me. I've played the Sicilian or against the Sicilian so long, my whole chess career, and I know so much about this, but this was quite new to me. So yeah, it was really difficult to find the right ideas on the spot. So that's why I started with knight c3, and it was already not so great because bishop takes, b takes c3, and my pawns are doubled, and I have the bishop pair, but it's really difficult and you really need to know what you're doing here. She plays knight f6, bishop e3, queen c7, bishop d3, and yeah, this is basically the start of disaster because knight e5 and my pawn on c4 is just hanging forever. And in this opening phase, I was spending so much time because it's like you know exactly what's going to happen. You just know. You know that the next few moves you're going to lose that pawn on c4. You know that disaster is going to happen, but you don't know how to prevent it. So queen e2 is what I played, and this is already like so bad because I'm stuck here with my pieces. This is the moment I should have played c5 or retreat, but how do you retreat when there's a pawn on e4 hanging? Turns out that queen d4 is fine because knight f6, and it's just really difficult to understand this position altogether. Bishop f4, and it feels like I'm like completely lost here, but I'm not. So this is definitely something I need to look into to understand these positions better, because for me, it looks like rocket science right now. Anyway, queen e2 is what I played, the natural move, right? b6, and here I was like, okay, like I see the danger incoming. So I spent quite some time here, and I decided I can play a4 to keep things very exciting and tense. She plays bishop a6, knight d2, I have to defend the pawn, right? And now she comes in with d5, and I saw this move coming, but part of me hoped that I could still fight, you know, there was still some comeback somewhere. I played bishop d4, knight takes, queen takes, e5, all amazing moves played by her. Queen g3, knight d7. I'm pinning the pawn on e5 so she can't take my bishop, so I'm still holding on for the time being. I take on d5 with the e pawn because if I take with the c pawn, then bishop is covering this diagonal and I can't castle, and then rook c8 comes in, and this is just, yeah, pretty awkward overall. So instead e takes d5 and she played rook c8. And this was the moment I could actually try to equalize it. And what do? I make another mistake. Great job, Anna. So I was thinking of two moves here. The one that I played, a5, but I was also thinking of short castle, and I was so intrigued by this move, but for some reason I didn't play it. I was saying e takes d4, rook e1 check, king f8, d6, queen c6, rook e7, and or I just take on d4, and I was just not sure, but this is already even better according to the computer. This is completely crazy. So this is actually so unfortunate that I didn't go for this line, because I was considering it, but I thought there's no way I can justify this. There's no way this is good enough. And this knight is going to gobble up that pawn on d6, and then it's completely over. But apparently this was completely fine. So yeah, I was a little bit sad because I did see the line. I did consider this, but I went for a5 after all. And yeah, this was the start of a lot of bad moves. Oh, well, not many bad moves, but more like it's just a really bad position. Bishop takes c4 is played, a takes b6, a takes b6, and here I played d6 with the idea that, okay, now my bishop is hanging, so if the queen captures the pawn, she didn't take it, but if the queen captures the pawn, then knight takes c4, rook takes c4, now the pawn is pinned because the queen is not protected anymore, and I come in with rook a8, knight b8, and I can, you know, start capturing the pawn on e5, queen takes, bishop takes, and yeah, if rook e4 check, I can just move out of here, and then you cannot take because rook takes b8, right? So yeah, anyway, that's why you can't capture that pawn. You shouldn't do that. She played queen c6, which was the right move. And here I'm basically a little bit stuck here because I can take the pawn e5, but as a short castle, I'm in huge trouble because my king is not safe, my bishop is not safe, and I'm just in a terrible position. f4 is played, f6, bishop d4, rook f8. At least I wanted to get the square f2 available for my king, because basically in this position, just to quickly go back, the idea is of my opponent to play, well, rook a8 or rook e8. And rook 8 is really annoying because I'm not castle and I can't really move the king from the first rank. Once some rook gets to a1, I'm in big trouble. So I played f4 with the reasoning that if now rook a8, I can capture, or I can even play king f2 right away. But I play king f2 and I'm fine. This is like holdable. So yeah, that's why I played f4, but of course f6 is played, bishop d4, and now check, and my king is in trouble because I can't go to f2 because of rook e2 check, and I lose a knight. So king d1 instead. Apparently bishop e3 is the better move, but okay, it's a really ugly position altogether. King d1, bishop e2, king c2, queen takes d6, rook a4, and yeah, I didn't realize that queen takes d4 was, you know, a threat before she took on d6. I was like, oh, now it's a problem. Now this is a big problem. So I play rook a4, and then she hits me with bishop e5. I thought, okay, Anna, you're missing all the tactics now, because I thought rook b4, but then queen takes b4. So yeah, it was a bit depressing to see. So I just played on king b3, take. I mean, what is it, king doing on a4? Knight c5 check, king b5. I mean, it's just so lost. I'm just surviving. And she hesitated about moving the queen to c6, but then she moved it, and then she went back and like paused for a sec, and then she moved it anyway. I thought, oh, because I was thinking king c4, knight e4 is completely lost. I resign because I lose the queen. So basically I have king b4, and then when I played king b4, I was like, oh, oh, checkmate. I was like, okay, like I'll let her play it because I don't want to resign on my turn. That's, well, when I have made a move, I don't want to do that. So she checkmated me, and it was over, and I thought, okay, that was something. This was quite a disaster of a game. It feels quite sad and depressing to be crushed like this, and I feel like I was fighting my own demons in this game more than that I was fighting my opponent. And yeah, like my time management was really poor. On move 30, I was down to 2 minutes, and this was move 30, by the way. And yeah, I was spending a lot of time, and I was just struggling altogether. I was struggling, and yeah, I don't want to blame it on fatigue or something from the previous game. I really do think it's like the opening that just caught me so off guard, and like I was just not really, like I felt so disorganized this game. I was just not in the right mindset or something, and weirdly enough, even though I had like a really good game just now. So yeah, these games happen. I don't, you know, take it too hard, or I don't, you know, try to focus on it too much. I see this as a learning lesson. I see it as a, you know, a moment where I need to realize, okay, that this opening I need to check, and yeah, there's a lot to learn from this. So yeah, it was really interesting to play this game. I had one opportunity to equalize and it didn't take it, unfortunately, but would have been really awesome. But the game was still exciting, I would say. I got destroyed, but it was still very exciting, so I'm really happy about that. So not a long recap, but short recaps are also fun, right? So yeah, I'm now on 2.5 out of 5, I believe. Editor will show it to you. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the first half of the tournament. We're now heading into a rest day, so I'm excited for the rest day because I need the rest. These 2 games have burned my head completely. This game as well, by the way. So yeah, I'm super excited to go to the rest day and hopefully continue with a better run in the second half because we have 5 rounds left. 5 more! We only played 5 just now, and now another 5 left. So excited for the last 5 rounds. Yeah. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you so much for all the support. I really appreciate it. It's so fun to be able to stream my games and to also record a recast for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!